Greetings, everyone. So, we were discussing in the previous session some of the tax free perquisites, and we have already discussed from medical benefits to facilities of conveyance between residence and office. Let us move further on these benefits. Next is the refresher management course, that is the training programs that take place in certain in all the offices in order to maybe keep the employees updated, or maybe upgrade their skills, or maybe prepare them for further promotion or higher positions. Here certain refresher courses and orientation programs are to be taken up, and the employees are motivated to participate in them so that their future prospects become more bright. When the employees attend these refresher course or skill development programs, or maybe management training or some other workshop, in that case they are mostly these days, all these programs are paid basis, and when the employer when the pays these bills, it becomes a perquisites for those employees. So employers, they pay the bill for skill development, maybe for any kind of courses that enhance the performance of the employee. These training benefits are actually very essential for the organization. As I said, that they keep the employees updated, they keep them, competent enough to stand in the market, because through these programs, these courses, they improve their efficiency, their productivity, and their competency level also. And therefore the employer, they compel or they motivate their employees to participate, and the employers pay on their behalf for these workshop and these programs. So the companies, they sponsor, so in case the companies sponsor an employees for management course, maybe at IIM, or maybe other universities or institutions, that is, although all those expenditures are completely exempted. uh, for example, in academics, we are encouraged to participate in conferences, seminars, present our papers, do more researches, and when the company, our universities, they pay on our behalf, that becomes a perquisite for me, and it is a completely exempted perquisite. There's no tax on that. Next, we have the tax paid by employer on behalf of employee. Uh, in this case, let us say that when the employees, they are posted abroad, and they work under certain special contracts, under a certain special maybe positions, then the employer may bear their tax liability to simplify the compliances. Simplify the compliances and meet all the compliances and the competency. And since it is not any additional benefit for the employee, but it is a settlement of liability, and therefore it is exempted to avoid the double taxation. Suppose employer pays rupees 50,000 as income tax on employees behalf. In that case, this 50,000 will be exempted from tax payment. The last one, it is perquisite to government employees posted abroad. That is, the government employees, when they are posted abroad, for example, we can say diplomats or ambassadors, they receive certain allowances and housing in foreign countries. And they represent India, and they represent the government, and therefore the government covers their living cost abroad, as because as they are on official duty. It's not a personal gain for them, because maybe a person who is posted abroad, he already owns a house here in his country, in India, where he is working. and he does not need to spend extra by taking the houses on rent, and therefore the companies or the government, they pay on their behalf, and that is tax free or maybe fully exempted perquisites. So I hope now you the things about the fully taxable, fully exempted perquisites are clear to you. Uh, Moving further to that, because we have more into the list of free perquisites. Next, we have the rent-free house and conveyance facility to High Court judges. That is actually the judges, they are the constitutional authority, and therefore wherever they are transferred, or wherever which whatever court they are attached to, they need housing, they need transportation in order to perform their official duties with dignity and with efficiency, and therefore to preserve the judicial independence and to ensure their personal comfort, this kind of expenditure is done. That is, they are provided the rent-free house, they are provided the car facilities and other facilities also what is required for the compliances of their duties, and therefore they are fully exempted. Similarly, rent-free houses and conveyance facilities to Supreme Court judges. It can be the same reason as rent-free house for High Court judges, and therefore they are also, their amenities or perquisites provided to them is also tax-free. Coming to rent-free house and conveyance to ministers or leaders of opposition. Ministers and opposition leaders, they require official accommodation and vehicles for public duties and securities. Security, that is, they have to play a part of vigilance and keep in touch with the general public to see that they are in good hands, and therefore maybe they have to be provided certain official accommodation and vehicle also. So this is not a reward actually, but it is a facility which is very essential for governance, and therefore they are exempted. For example, if the union minister receives official residence in Delhi, it's a part of his duty that he has to stay there, and therefore he will be provided with the free or rent-free accommodation and as well as car. We have the laptops and computers which are provided by the employer. That is, in order to facilitate the official work, in order to facilitate the communication and productivity even from home, and even at maybe when one is there in the office, then here there also they need these tools, that is laptop computers, in order to make themselves more competent and more perform more smoothly. So these tools used for work are obviously, they are business aids, they are not income source, and therefore they are eligible for getting the exemption. So the company which gives worth a laptop to its employees for the official use, obviously maybe for 60,000 or 1 lakh, it is tax free. Maybe these laptops and laptops are used for personal purpose also, because that is incidental, you cannot stop it, but still all expenditure on providing the aids or maybe movable equipments which are the need of the job, it is all exempted or tax free. We have interest-free or concessional loan up to rupees 20,000. Yes, as we've already discussed, there are short-term financial help which are provided or maybe which are provided to meet the emergencies, for example, medical, education, or travel purpose. Loans of small amounts are temporary assistance. They are not income. So, large loans may attract tax on interest benefit, and therefore they are exempted. So it is up, but the maximum limit is up to rupees 20,000. thousand, so that it is a provision to keep the employees intact by not going here and there, and it is more comfortable for them if they get it from the company itself, so they get a concessional or interest free loan. They are provided concessional or interest free loan. Similarly, transfer of old movable assets after 10 years. That is, company may give old furniture or fixture to employees as maybe out of good faith or maybe as goodwill after a long use. Since the items valued is all these items value, for example, uh, a laptop has been used since last 10 years and now the company says it is yours, you don't have to return it back to me. Not only laptop but the computer system or the car or anything, if it is used, movable, all movable assets, if they have been already utilized for more than 10 years, because it is believed that by the end of the 10 year, either the book value is zero or maybe it is nil. Maybe it is a nil or zero after 10 years, because we charge depreciation every year from the day when the asset was purchased. And therefore, with the asset with having the book value as zero, obviously it will not be treated as income. For example, maybe old office chairs or maybe laptop or something, a refrigerator used. After 12 years, they are handed over to the employee. They can take them home or they can use them in their office there only. So this will be all exempted facility. Periodicals and journals. That is, some many a time the companies, they have subscription to professionals or technical journals that help the employees to stay updated in their domain, in their field. They enhance their knowledge, they enhance their market knowledge through these periodicals and journals, and therefore it is directly relates to the official duties, obviously, because they assist in improving your official duties. And therefore, since they are directly related to duties and learnings also, and they are not personal entertainment, and therefore they are exempted. For example, suppose there is an institute of chartered accountants. There, if the employer is paying or subscribing to the Chartered Accountant Journal, in that case, obviously, it is totally for business purpose and therefore it will be totally exempted. Similarly, we have LTC, that is leave travel concession. Leave travel concession is section 10, subsection 5. We will discuss them in detail in the later session also. But to understand, let us say that it is when the company wants to promote rest, they want to promote recreation and maybe family bonding. They want their employees to get relaxation and have some fun after rigorous working continuously for many months. Then they are encouraged. Uh, they are encouraged towards, or maybe they are provided to take the leave travel concessions. Sometimes it is also done to encourage the domestic tourism within the country. So we see that it benefits both the employees' health as well as the national tourism. So the government incentivizes it through the tax exemption. For example, an employee gets rupees 50,000 for LTC for family trip to Shimla. For maybe he can leave for a week. So this person goes with family and they enjoy in Shimla. They get refreshed, they get re-energized and reboosted. They come back to work again with lots of energy, and therefore this kind of expenditure on employee is considered to be the tax-free benefit or tax-free this. So that is about the long list on tax-free perquisites that are available there. Now coming to the next uh, detail about the medical benefits, which we also discussed as the first point uh, under the medical benefit section, that is tax-free benefits, section 17, subsection 2. Medical benefits refer to the medical treatment or healthcare support which is provided by an employer to an employee and his or her family. This benefit is not considered as the taxable income as it is meant for employees' welfare, health protection, and productivity maintenance, or maybe, and therefore it's not taken as a monetary gain. Why are these medical facilities are provided? I think it is to ensure the good health, ensure efficiency, and lower least or minimize the absenteeism in the workplace, and therefore these employers they offer medical coverage to reduce the stress and financial burden during the illness. It also encourages the preventive health care also, that is because by providing the free or reimburse the medical facilities, organizations they promote preventive checkups and timely treatment. And it is also a part of the government welfare objective because the government encourages corporate participation in healthcare. So such benefits are tax free. Therefore, another reason can be to bring an equity between the private and public sector employees, because the government employees they already are enjoying the health facilities, they already enjoy the health facilities. Similar tax benefits ensure fairness of private employees too, and therefore this facility is provided. Now, coming to the tax treatment or under two categories can be studied under two categories. That is the medical facility or medical treatment which is done within India, and here we have to consider a few things. And what is the treatment when the medical treatment goes outside India? Maybe the facilities are not available here, and then they are referred to avail the facility or the benefit outside India. What is the tax treatment in that situation? So when first situation can be when it is India, it can be the treatment in employer's hospital himself. Sometimes the employer they themselves maintain hospital or clinic or dispensary and provide free medical treatment to the employee or their family member. In this case, when this kind of facility is available, then the value of such treatment is fully exempted. The example can be in Aligarh Muslim University, we have our own JNMC, that is the medical college, which is very exhaustive and provides all the medical subsidy at a very subsidized rate. It's almost free. We have to get one slip that has to be in return for of a payment of rupees 100, and then we go for all kind of treatments. We have best doctors here, etc. So I think it is totally exempted also, and it is, I think, since it is a direct welfare which is provided by the organization and not a cash income, and therefore it is a free facility. Similar to Aligarh Muslim University, we also have Infosys, Tata, Azim Premji Foundation. All these companies they maintain. They have either in-house facility, clinic, or for their staff and their families. And an employee's spouse receives free treatment for fever, even if for fever, then this is also fully exempted. Then second is when the treatment is in, we are discussing these treatment in the country, in India. Then we have the treatment in a government or approved hospital. This is all the situation. This is also the situation when the companies, they do not have their own hospitals, but they have to take the help from other government hospitals. So if the treatment is in a government or approved hospital, hospital means the hospitals which are being listed by the company, that okay, we will be having a contract with these 5 hospitals and we'll be sending them, our employees, to these hospitals. So it may be the treatment can be taken in a government hospital, or maybe any hospital which is maintained by the local authority, or a private hospital which is approved by the government for its employee. Then any amount reimbursed by the employer is fully exempted. Yeah, it is an approved, legitimate healthcare expenses. It's not a personal luxury, and therefore it is an exempted income, tax-free income, I would say. For example, an employee, he gets a treatment at AIMS. Maybe because it is an approved list of hospital, and the employer reimburses him rupees 40,000. This rupees 40,000 will be fully exempted. Then if there is a treatment for a prescribed disease in approved hospital, in that case what happens, if the treatment is for some specified diseases, example cancer, heart disease, kidney failure, etc., in hospitals which are approved by the chief commissioner of income tax, then the reimbursement of by the employer is completely exempted. These actually Why this facility is given is, these days most of the diseases, they involve high cost. The government supports relief for serious health conditions, and therefore it is taken under as free perquisite and will not be taxed. And in case, what happens in case health insurance premium which is paid by the employer, in this case, if the employer pays the health insurance premium also under Mediclaim for the employee or any family member, then it is exempted from the tax. It obviously encourages the health insurance and risk management of the family, and therefore whatever amount is paid for this claim, policy claim, etc., a Mediclaim or anything, it is fully exempted. Sometimes employee, they themselves pay. In this case, they pay the premium, but then the employer reimburses them. This remains tax free as long as the insurance is for the employee or the family. Similarly, now we come to category B. That is what happens if the medical treatment has to go outside India. That is, if the patient, maybe the disease or the surgery required is such that it cannot be done in India, it cannot be treated in India, and therefore they are referred, outside, maybe to some developed nations, because sometimes actually what happens that some advanced treatment may not be available in India, and in such a case the employer may bear the expenses for treatment abroad, and these are also exempted under certain conditions. Let us understand them one by one. Maybe first, expenditure on medical treatment abroad. That is, if the employer pays for the medical treatment abroad for the employee or family member, it will be exempted to the extent permitted by the Reserve Bank of India. RBI limits ensure foreign exchange control and genuine use for medical purposes. For example, employer spends rupees 10 lakh for kidney transplant abroad. RBI permits only $12,000. Then it is the exempted to the permitted extent. Whatever amount is allowed, only that can be taken up or used. For example, here it is rupees 12,000 pound allowed by the government of India or the employer, then that till that above over and above the expenditure will be taxable. Now it's whenever any patient goes outside, they have some person to accompany maybe, and they need to stay there. So what about, and that is also an expensive consideration, that is going out for treatment and have to stay. If the employer pays for treatment abroad for the employee or family, you know, what about the expenditure on travel? And so if the employer bears some, in some cases the employers do bear the expenses for the staying abroad of the patient, and also one attendant who would be accompanying the patient, because that is a necessity. Such expenses are exempted, but the provision has to be, first of all, they have to be within the prescribed limit of the RBI. That is, all the guidelines, there are, in those guidelines there are prescribed limits that can be that have to be followed. So they are within RBI permitted limits, and the employee's gross total income should not exceed rupees 2 lakh. Excluding this amount, it should not include exceed rupees 2 lakh. Only then this exemption is allowed. So in order to this, we can see, I think we can make out that in order to support the lower income employees needing the foreign treatment, this kind of exemption is provided. An employee earning rupees 1.8 lakh per year goes abroad with his child for surgery, suppose, then the company pays all the travel and stay cost. It will be fully exempted. It won't be taxable on that employee. Similarly, the situation may be the reimbursement of medical expenses outside India. That is, if the employee initially incurs medical expenses abroad and the employer later maybe reimburses them, in that case this is exempted from the taxation. That is, it will be exempted under the same condition as above. For example, employee pays rupees 50,000 for treatment abroad, later it is reimbursed by the employer within the RBI limit, then it is completely exempted. So I hope the medical benefits and other tax-free perquisites are clear to you after this session. We do this much. We'll continue in the next session. Thank you.